You good? Okay. Welcome. I am Diane Vu, the Director of the Office of Community Partnerships, and I welcome you to this important event today. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some key folks who are here to support this launch. They're not speaking, but we wanted to acknowledge their presence and support for this today. Karen Hendricks from Senator Chris Van Hollen's office, and Kathleen Connor, who is the District Director for Representative Jamie Raskin's office. We greatly appreciate all of you being here on this beautiful, sunny, warm afternoon. We thank the members of the press for helping us get the word out about this very important resource. We have a number of speakers to get through, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and introduce County Executive Mark Elridge.
Thank you very much. I apologize for the weather. I do dearly look forward to the day we can do a press conference like this inside, and hopefully that day is not too far off. I want to start with a couple of key things that I'll return to in my comments, but first is that this is $59 million of emergency rental assistance. $31 million is direct to the county from the Treasury, and $28 million was passed through to us from the Treasury to the state of Maryland and then to this county. So we've got $59 million that's going into this fund, and we're expecting more money from the relief bill that was just passed. So we're going to be in a lot better position to help people. This now allows us to give up to $12,000 in relief to families for up to 15 months of lost rent. And this is our phase 3. In the first 3 phases of this program, we've provided more than $16 million. So this is going to be multiples of what we've been able to do so far. We know the COVID pandemic has disproportionately impacted the economic well-being of our poorest and most vulnerable renters. They're often referred to as essential workers, but when you don't have health insurance and you don't have access to unemployment, you're pretty much expendable workers. And we've seen the high rates of illness in these communities and the high rates of death among many of our immigrant and other minority communities, and it's just critical that we provide adequate support to folks. The Pew Research Center has done research to say that 1 in 4 adults have had trouble paying their bills since the coronavirus outbreak. A third of them have dipped into savings or retirement accounts to make ends meet, and 1 in 6 have borrowed money from friends or family or gotten food from a food bank. And I don't remember the number right now, but we've literally given out millions of meals and I think millions of pounds of food. This is an enormous ongoing need in the county. We have to do everything in our power to keep people in their homes. The third phase of rental relief will allow us to continue to make sure that more money is available to these families. And I'm really grateful to the County Council for working with us on all this relief over this entire period. The congressional delegation who did amazing work in Washington to make these funds possible, and the state delegation for their work in Annapolis to make sure that federal and state money is flowing down at the local level. The rent relief program is going to support low-income households that have experienced income loss due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're making it easier. We've simplified our application processes. Yes, that's possible. And it's more efficient. We have online applications now available at www.mc311.com/rent relief, or you can get the same information by calling 311. County residents do have requirements. They have to certify that their income is under a certain amount. They have to certify that the lost income was due to COVID-19. So it has to be a COVID-19 related loss of income. They have to be at least $1,000 behind in rent, and they have to have been a resident of Montgomery County since August 2020. Households may have a formal or informal lease. So if you have a regular landlord in the regular rental situation, that's your formal lease. But if you're living with other people and you don't have a formal written lease, you just have to demonstrate that you're making these payments, and that counts. Final grant amounts will consider rent relief you've already gotten. So if you received rent relief early, that will count toward the $12,000. But our original funds, like I said, it's $16 million for 4,000 people. We're pretty limited. So this gives us a lot more ability to support families. And final grant amounts will include all forms of rental assistance that a person's received from any local, state, or federal program. The applications will proceed in order of priority. First is location in high-need areas. Second is a household member who's been unemployed 90 days or more, and if there are eviction actions that are currently being taken, and it's not just first come, first serve. I will say that I met with a couple of the judges that are going to be hearing the eviction cases that we know are coming up, and we let them know that the county is going to have rent support programs for tenants and to encourage them to ask the landlords to negotiate with the renters so that we can solve these problems rather than proceeding to eviction. So we wanted to reassure them that if they ask these folks to negotiate, that the county is going to be standing there ready to help these people make these rent payments. DHHS has continued to maintain an active wait list, and the process for requesting assistance has been streamlined. So protections against eviction help is also available. We're providing this relief, like I said, because we want to make sure people do not get evicted. Tenant support organizations can help with rental assistance. So if you're a community group or a group that works with tenants, you can help provide direction and help tenants fill out forms and all this kind of work, including contacting landlords to try to work out solutions. The federal CDC and the governor's orders against eviction are not automatic. The moratoriums require action. For example, the eviction protects you against the COVID-related non-payment of rent. So the eviction protection is not unlimited. It still requires that it's related to loss of work, loss of income due to COVID. Legal aid lawyers are available ahead of time and at the courthouse, and the courts reopened in April, as we know, to rehear thousands of eviction cases. So renters need to act before they're being called. If you get a notice of eviction, ignoring that notice will not help you. It's not going to go away by itself. So there's help here. And if you want information on legal aid and support organizations, that's available at www.montgomerycountymd.gov/renters. So in conclusion, money is important but meaningless if people don't get access to it. So if you're in the community, if you're working with community groups, and you know people who aren't able to pay their rent, you know people who are facing eviction, help them. They may not know this themselves. Not everybody reads the one newspaper in town. Not everybody listens to standard media. Not everybody goes on our Facebook page or checks our web page. So if you know somebody, help. A lot of this is going to depend on our ability to do reach out. We've got groups that we've enlisted throughout COVID, going back to testing to bring this message deeper in the community. We're going to keep doing this. So please, if you're out there and you know somebody, help us out. And I want to thank you for being here. You know, one of the important things about briefing the media is the role you play in getting information out. This isn't about a news story, though it's a news story. It's really about what you all can do to help us make sure that people don't lose their housing and we can keep people's lives together. So thank you very much.
I would now like to invite Council Vice President Gabe Arbanos.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor and privilege to have the opportunity to follow up our county executive on this very important and momentous day, another important stage as we continue to fight the pandemic and all of its effects on our community. I am Gabe Albornoz, Council Vice President and also Chair of the county's Health and Human Services Committee, and we have seen firsthand the constituent calls that we've been receiving, the messages we've been receiving from community-based organizations or county agencies that have been completely and utterly overwhelmed by the need and the volume of need that we've seen over this last year. And so I'd like to begin my comments by making some acknowledgments and thank yous on behalf of the entire council. And my colleague and friend, our council president, Tom Hucker, will be speaking towards the end of this presentation. First, I want to thank our county executive and his team, and in particular, Dr. Kroll at the Department of Health and Human Services, Amanda Harris, who heads up a very critical division in his department. I also want to thank Nasim and the Department of Housing and all of the county agencies that have stepped forward heroically to provide support for our families during their darkest hour of need. I also want to thank our sister county agencies and community-based organizations who have been working around the clock to support our families, and in particular, want to thank our federal delegation, as the county executive has. We have representatives here from our great Senator Chris Van Hollen and our incredible Congressman Jamie Raskin, who, along with the federal delegation in Montgomery County, working with their colleagues across the country and our president, were able to bring critical relief to our families. We would not be here this afternoon making this announcement without their leadership, without their authenticity, and without their help. So thank them very much for that leadership. Over 1,500 people in Montgomery County have lost their lives to this virus. Over 200,000 people have lost their jobs over the last year. And we know that there are tens of thousands of people in the queue to be evicted here in Montgomery County. And so these funds will help those families stay in their homes, and even more importantly, provide a bridge so that additional resources through other agencies can provide a holistic and wraparound approach. We've all seen the tragic consequences of what's happened, the blocks-long lines to access simple things such as food. This is an important step forward, but there will be much more that we will need to do as a community to continue to support those most in need and who have been disproportionately impacted by this virus. Every day, things get a little better. We are here to help, and I really appreciate the county executive's call to action, and I really appreciate the way that he encouraged our community residents to help each other and help our neighbors in need. These funds are critical, but as he said, if people don't know about them, and they're not utilized, then they're not going where they're the most needed. So thank you all again. I appreciate this day and look forward to better days to come.
Thank you, Council Vice President. We are lucky to have powerful testimonials coming from people in Montgomery County who have been assisted by rental relief. And I would like to first invite Zoila Ortega to share her story. And she will be speaking in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Zoila Ortega. Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Zoila Ortega. Yo estoy aquí para agradecer.
A little closer? Just closer. Okay. Yeah, just closer.
Oh. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Zoila Ortega. Yo estoy aquí para agradecer lo que me han ayudado, que lo que a mí me dieron fue de mucha bendición para pagar yo mi renta, y estoy agradecida primeramente con Dios y con las personas que me han ayudado. Y así invito a las personas que lo hagan así como yo lo hice, para que ellas sean beneficiadas con esta ayuda que es de gran bendición. Gracias.
I would now like to invite Paula Whitaker to offer her story.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Paula, and I'm a resident of Montgomery County. I'm an essential worker, and the last year have affected everyone of our lives in a way, either because of illness, loss of jobs, and a lot of us have not been able to go about our everyday lives, pay the regular bills, the rent, as we normally would because of this dreaded pandemic. I was in a position for the first time in my life where my rent went up to a substantial amount. I didn't know how I was going to pay, and my rental office sent me an application. The application was very short, concise, and it was clear on what you had to do to get assistance. I filled the application, and I must say I'm very grateful to the county executive, all the donors, all who were instrumental in providing for the people of Montgomery County. And now I can say I'm breathing a sigh of relief because my family and I is not in jeopardy of being outside on the streets. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paula. And our last testimonials is coming from Ma Diakate.
Good afternoon. My name is Ma Diakite. I just want to tell you about my own situation. I lost my job in February. It's 1 year now. I was in a school and doing a nursing too, and it was a tough time. And I get sick, got a surgery, and it was a really tough time. But fortunately, I got a chance to have an assistant from Montgomery County for my rent. And they used to give up food too. So I telling my people in a minority, you have a help with Montgomery County. And please, you may have a number, you go there and ask, and you have all information. And also, I'm going to say in French, because, OK, bonjour. Je suis Madiakité. Bon, je vous parle de ma situation que j'ai eue avec le Covid-19. J'ai perdu mon travail et il y a 1 an de cela. Et en plus de ça, j'ai eu des problèmes de santé. Mais avec l'assistance de Montgomery County, j'ai pu quand même rester dans mon appartement. Et là, ils ont encore de l'argent pour aider les gens. Vous avez le numéro 311 et vous faites le 240 777 03 11. Et on vous donnera toutes les informations pour vous assister, pour payer votre location jusqu'à peut-être plus d'1 an. Donc voilà ce que je voulais vous dire. Et puis merci vraiment au personnel de Montgomery County. Et vous avez tout là-bas, appelez pour avoir de l'assistance. God bless everybody. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Zoila. Thank you, Paula, and merci, Ma, for sharing your stories. Our hope is that other renters and tenants will see your stories today and encourage them to apply for assistance. I am now going to switch to representatives from our Montgomery County government who made this possible. And I would like to first invite up Amanda Harris, who is the Chief of Services to End and Prevent Homelessness at HHS.
Thank you, Diane. Good afternoon. Before I begin, I do just want to say thank you again to our program participants that provided their testimonial. Thank you for being brave and sharing your story. This really puts a human face to the work and why we are all here. So as previously mentioned by the County Executive, Phase 3 of the Rent Relief Program can provide up to $12,000 in assistance for rent arrears and future rent, and for a maximum of 15 months. The eligible households must have a gross income at or below 50% AMI. So for a family of 4, this means an annual income of $63,000 or a monthly income of less than $5,250. I want to emphasize that we can look at income versus, we can look at your annual income or we can look at your monthly income. So if you were working in 2019 and had a good job, but all of 2020 you didn't work, or you haven't had work for the last 6 months, we encourage you to apply. We can look at your monthly income. You must have a COVID-related income loss. This COVID-related income loss is pretty broad. It can include a job loss, a reduction of hours, inability to work due to child care obligations, or the unfortunate death of a primary earner due to COVID. You must owe at least $1,000 in back rent. I also want to note and emphasize that this program does not require Social Security numbers or proof of immigration status. Even if you do not have a formal lease, as long as you have a rent obligation, you are eligible to apply. Renters who received assistance in the previous rounds are also eligible to apply. If you live in subsidized housing, you have a housing choice voucher or HOC voucher, you are in fact eligible to apply. We are encouraging everyone to apply online by visiting mc311.com/rent relief. This will allow you to upload documents, ask questions, and check the status of your application. This is new and definitely an improvement from our previous rounds. We know that it took a long time to get checks in the hands of landlords and tenants, and so we're hoping that our new online application software will expedite that process. The application is available in 7 languages, and for those households that do not have internet access or need additional assistance completing the application, they can call 311. I do want to note that when you go to the online application, it is a 2-step process. You must complete both steps. The first step is to determine your initial eligibility, and then the second step requires you to set up a login and complete the application. We also know that rent is not the only issue that is challenging tenants. The Department of Health and Human Services offers a number of programs, including behavioral health support, food and medical assistance, child care subsidies, and many more. Our community providers also offer additional assistance with food, behavioral health, and all these other challenges that people might be facing. So you can visit our website for more info. And I will end by sharing some very positive news. Due to the significant investment of federal, state, and local resources, we have prevented thousands of people from losing their homes. As a direct result, the county has reduced family homelessness by 52% this year, and overall homelessness by 14%. By applying an equity framework and prioritizing financial assistance to those most in need, we hope to further reduce housing instability and make homelessness a rare, brief, and non-recurring event for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda. I'd like to introduce the Director of Department of Housing and Community Affairs, Asim Nagam.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us this afternoon. I want to let our constituents know that you're not alone in this. We are with you, and we are with you for the long haul, because the effects of this pandemic are going to last for a very long period of time. We are both ready and able to assist you. What the county has done is, the county has created an ecosystem to provide housing financial services, including rental services, social services, and the legal assistance. So whatever assistance you need, we have it available. The assistance is available now, and more assistance is on the way. I want to let our constituents know that, through our efforts, through outreach efforts, we have been able to reach out to many faith-based organizations, many communities which are hard to reach. We have been approaching tenants and landlords alike, letting them know what services are available. We hear your pain. So whichever way we can help you, we are here to assist you. That being said, if you have issues with the laptop or computer, you cannot have access to a website, you can always call us. As you heard from Amanda, our preference is to go through the website, but you can always call us. If English is not your primary language, we have information available in different languages. So you don't have to be fearful of anything. If you do not know how to fill out an application, assistance is available, whether it's through government or through our social service providers. The county is really fortunate to have a great network of social service providers who are ready to assist, even at the court. So please reach out to us, and we'll be able to assist you whichever way is possible. We want success over here. We have great landlords in the county who are ready to work with their tenants. So the assistance is available. Thank you very much.
Our final 2 speakers are representatives of nonprofit organizations who are assisting us reach renters. First is Frank Vitale of the Maryland Legal Aid.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Frank Vitale. I'm a senior staff attorney at Maryland Legal Aid's Montgomery County office just up the street in Rockville. Maryland Legal Aid provides free civil legal assistance to low-income families and individuals. Last year alone, we served up to just about 9,000 Montgomery County residents, many of whom were facing housing-related issues. The COVID-19 related health crisis has and will continue to lead to new challenges for these families as they navigate rising unemployment and pending eviction cases. Today, I'm excited to share that Maryland Legal Aid, with support from Montgomery County and in partnership with the Homeless Persons Representation Project and CASA, have established an eviction prevention program to help families who are facing evictions in the pandemic. We are going to be present in court all day, every day, and we are working hard to make sure that tenants can benefit from the local and federal tenant protections that are currently in place. For individuals who qualify, we can offer advice and representation in court on the date of a person's hearing. We're also working with other social service relief organizations to make sure that tenants get the help that they need to sign up for the funds that are being made available today. I will say, I agree with Executive Elrich's take that this is not an automatic protection. You do need to be prepared when you come in. And there are things that tenants can do ahead of time to prepare for their day in court, and I do urge them to do so. Tenants who have lost their income due to COVID-19 should bring proof of the reason of unemployment with them to court, as well as proof of any rent that's paid. That may mean a furlough letter, a layoff letter, a letter regarding a loss of hours, or a letter from a school obliging a tenant to stay home to take care of their school-aged children. It is very important that tenants bring these in because they will be a vital part of any defense that we'll be able to raise. Tenants who do apply for rent relief should bring proof with them when they come to court. Finally, tenants should really make sure that they review their court notices carefully. There are multiple courtrooms operating, and it's 5 days a week at this point. And many tenants have more than one case, so you need to make sure that you are in the right place. For the time being, all of these cases are in Silver Spring, but please, please, please make sure you check your notice carefully, check it again, and then have a couple friends check it too, just to be sure. It is imperative that tenants show up to court. You can't raise a defense unless you're there, and I can't help you unless you're there. So please make sure that you come in, because again, you won't be able to raise any defenses if you're not there, and these defenses do require that you assert them in court. They are not automatic. I want to offer our thanks again to the Montgomery County government, to the courts, and to the dedicated individuals and groups who are partnering with us for making this program possible. As we continue to face these challenges, and it will extend past the following months as we recover, the combined efforts can ensure that stable housing continues to be preserved for the residents here in Montgomery County and across the state. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Anna Martinez from CASA.
Good afternoon. My name is Ana Martinez, lead organizer with CASA, the largest immigrant rights organization in the Mid-Atlantic region. We know that tenants have had a challenging year, and as the courts open up, we're all here working together alongside with county government and nonprofits to make sure that we help prevent evictions as much as possible. We have Maryland Legal Aid, Homeless Person Representation Project, and CASA providing support with legal counsels and representation. We also have organizations including CASA, Housing Initiative Partnership, the Latino Economic Development Center, and Renters Alliance, who are providing support with tenant education, rental assistance application, and help with the court process. If you need support during these times, we ask that you reach out to us, to all of us, so we can connect you with as many resources as we can. It is important that you know your rights as a tenant and that you know the various protections that are available for you, including the CDC and the state protections. It is super important that you attend the court if you have a court notice. If you have doubts or questions, we're here to make sure that you don't feel alone and have the confidence to fight your housing case or situation. As mentioned, the county has funding available for folks that are having difficulty paying the rent, for which you can apply through the website, calling 311, or contact one of your local nonprofits listed prior. This funding is super important. It's available to everyone regardless of immigration status. We ask that you help spread the word and share the information with your friends and families. Entonces, mi nombre es Ana Martínez, organizadora con CASA, la organización más grande que lucha de los derechos de inmigrante aquí en la zona Mid-Atlántico. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles y estamos trabajando en coordinación con el gobierno local y otras organizaciones sin fines de lucro para que los inquilinos tengan todo el apoyo posible. Tenemos a Legal Aid, HPRP y CASA que están ayudando con consultas y representación legal. También tenemos la organización CASA, HIP, LEDC y Alianza de Inquilinos que están ayudando en diferentes formas, incluyendo educación sobre los derechos de inquilino, aplicación de asistencia de renta y apoyo con el proceso en las cortes. Sabemos que nuestra comunidad tuvo un año súper difícil y ahora que están abriendo las cortes, queremos ayudar a asegurar de que podamos prevenir evicciones, desalojos. Les pedimos que se acerquen a nosotros para que conozcan sus derechos como inquilinos y que le podamos conectar con los recursos que están disponibles. Es súper importante que sepan las protecciones que existen ahorita durante la pandemia, incluyendo la protección del CDC y protecciones estatales. Es súper importante asistir a las cortes y traer sus documentos, traer documentos de ingreso, traer documentos de cuánto deben de renta. Y si no hablan con nosotros antes, ¿verdad? Todavía hay que ir porque van a haber personas ahí ayudando adentro de las cortes. Si tienen dudas o preocupaciones, acérquense, porque nosotros queremos asegurar que no se sienten solos y que tengan la confianza de luchar de su caso y situación de vivienda. En este momento, el condado tiene fondos para asistencia de renta para las personas que han tenido dificultad y queremos asegurar que los más afectados durante esta pandemia tengan acceso. Y es súper importante de que esto es inclusivo a personas, no importa el estatus migratorios. Entonces sabemos el impacto que tuvo también las personas sin documento en estos momentos y queremos asegurar que también tengan acceso a esos apoyos. Para la asistencia de renta, pueden chequear la página del condado, llamar al 311 o contactar las organizaciones locales que hemos mencionado. Les pedimos, que nos ayuden a pasar la palabra a sus vecinos y amigos para que así más personas tengan acceso a esos beneficios. Muchas gracias.
We now have time for a couple of questions. Are there any questions? No? Okay. So lastly, I'll just say "Cảm ơn," which means thank you in Vietnamese.
Thank you all very much today.
On your property, there are many people that want to solve drainage issues, and conservation landscapes are one way to do it. So for $10, it's a pretty good deal, and we can take 40 people each day. So a total of 80, and there's room, so I hope people sign up.
To find out more about the Rainscapes program and the different projects you can do at your home or office, go to rainscapes.org. Coming up, we're going to find out what you can do to grow your own garden